She never raised her voice, never raised a fist. But the world struck first, and she remembered. And the fire she chose would define her. The oven door creaked like an old secret, opening to the scent of red bean and flour. She was born Hanai Lin, the name her grandfather whispered into her infant ears, a name meant to carry roots through foreign soil. Her father, Minjun Lin, was a combat veteran who had fought long enough to know the price of fury. He came home and chose a different war, a war to stay soft in a world that taught men like him to be hard. He opened a bakery with her mother and taught Hanai that peace was something you had to choose again and again. In flower and firelight, he showed her that gentleness was not surrender. It was strength with the safety on. Mornings started early, kneading dough before dawn. Her father would hum under his breath, sleeves rolled up, flour coating his forearms like dust on stone. Her mother prepared the fillings, sweet red bean, creamy custard, sesame paste, each one a memory folded into taste. The bell above the bakery door jingled at 6 a.m. sharp. Regulars shuffled in. Mrs. Yamada for her green tea bun, Mr. Clark for black coffee and sesame twists. Sometimes Hanai would sit under the counter and draw while the world walked by their window. Sometimes she helped. Most days she just watched her parents offer warmth to a world that often refused to see them. There were whispers when her mother spoke Korean on the phone. Eyes rolled when her father bowed too deeply. Some customers mocked the pastries they could not pronounce. Once, someone keyed a slur into the bakery's back door. Her father scrubbed it off without a word. She learned early that kindness could make people uncomfortable, and that silence could be a form of resistance. There was peace there, but not the easy kind. It was peace maintained carefully, day by day, under the weight of what they knew could return. Every smile was a shield, every loaf an offering. What they had was not safety. It was endurance disguised as calm. Their family never raised voices, never raised fists. They baked through slurs, smiled through spit. Theirs was a fire meant for nourishment, not destruction. But fire does not care what you mean it for. One night, it found them anyway. Minjun Lin was locking up alone. A man on the sidewalk yelled something vile. He did not respond. But violence does not always wait for provocation. One shove, one scream, one delivery truck that never had time to break. 2 broken ribs, 1 collapsed lung, 15 stitches across his temple. Hanai sat in the hospital for 13 days. She counted the machines, counted his breaths. She watched the bruise on his cheek darken like old fruit. Her mother wept once, then packed in silence. They left everything behind, the oven, the brick walls, the name. That was the day Hanai Lin became Ashley Lin. They moved to Oregon, a smaller town, a quieter place. They opened another bakery, less foot traffic, less risk. Her mother smiled more. Her father spoke less. And Ashley? Ashley burned quietly. The fire in the oven stayed warm. The fire under her ribs? That one grew unchecked. She had been raised by 2 people who chose love even when the world swung first. But she could not walk that same path, not after what she saw, not with what she carried. Her father believed peace was power. Ashley believed peace was a privilege, one you only kept if someone else defended it. The girl said her name was Rena, just a kid at school who noticed Ashley ate lunch alone, 1 invitation, 1 garage dojo. Ashley stepped inside and saw people moving like smoke, fast, calm, focused. She did not ask permission. The bruises bloomed slow. She wore sleeves through summer. Her fists grew tighter, her movements sharper. The others started calling her Ash because she never burned out, just left others smoldering. Ash Lin entered the underground circuit at 16. It started with local matches, bear mats, flickering lights, and crowds that smelled like sweat and spilled beer. Her first fight ended in under 40 seconds. She did not roar. She did not celebrate. She just walked out of the ring, silent, with a bruise under her eye and blood on her knuckles. Word spread. No one knew her real name. Just the stare, just the silence, just the scars. She fought like a girl who had already lost the luxury of peace. Every blow she landed felt like reclaiming breath, every victory like she was forcing the world to see her family's pain, and yet every fight left her feeling farther from them. It was a clean shot, a black eye that bloomed purple across her cheekbone, her mother's gasp in the kitchen, her father's silence. Ashley felt the shift. They did not scream, they just stopped smiling the same. A week later, her father asked her to walk with him. No bakery, no mother, just two people on a cold sidewalk. He said little for a long while, hands in pockets, eyes ahead. "You think I do not understand," he said finally, "but I know what it means to want to hit back. I know what it costs." Ashley stayed silent. Violence, it never stays where you put it. It finds its way into everything you love. She clenched her jaw. Then what? Just take it? Just let them win? Minjun stopped walking, turned to her. "You think I did not want to fight that man? I saw his face every night. But I chose to build something your mother could stand inside, something you could grow up inside." Ashley looked away, eyes wet but angry. "And if they burn it down?" "Then you build again, but not with ashes in your hands." She said nothing, just turned and walked ahead. Her steps were hard, her breath fast. But something in her paused, and stayed paused for days. They had taught her peace, and she had brought home war. That night she sat in her room staring at her fists and whispered the words she could never say aloud. "I could not protect him, but I will protect everyone else." So she stopped fighting. She packed away the gloves, kept the nickname. The absence of the cage left a silence that echoed louder than any crowd. There were no more bruises to hide, but no clear path forward either. For weeks, her body healed while her purpose hung in limbo. She missed the ritual, wrapping her hands, stepping into the mat's center, the moment everything else disappeared. And yet, she hated the look in her father's eyes even more, the quiet disappointment wrapped in fear. She would sit in her room at night, tracing the old scars on her knuckles like a language she could no longer speak. Part of her wanted to fight again, to prove something, that she was strong, that she could protect, that she mattered. But another part, quieter, deeper, wondered if her father's path had never been weakness, only wisdom earned in pain. And then the fire found her again, not in fists, but in flames. Because not all battles are fought with hands, some are fought with heat. And some victories do not roar, they rise quietly, and do not burn the village they came from. And she carried the fire somewhere else. Oregon summers dry the land like paper. The sky turns orange by noon. Ashley Lynn, now 26, woke every day at 0400 to run drills with her wildfire crew. Her first blaze was 2 years before the ridge, a canyon line fire in July. The heat rolled up the valley like thunder in slow motion. Her gear felt 10 times heavier than it had in training. Her gloves stuck to her palms, her mask fogged. One ember landed on her sleeve. She slapped it down instinctively and then froze. But then she remembered the rhythm, the ritual, step forward, cut line, advance, repeat. And in that first fire, she found something frightening and familiar, the same clarity as the cage, the same silence. Only this time she was not hurting someone to win. She was protecting a town she would never meet. It was the first time she felt proud since the mat. The day the ridge buckled, the wind turned hellward. A gust hit the line. Radios screamed. A young recruit panicked and froze mid-evac. Ashley saw his face, a kid barely out of high school, frozen in place, eyes wide with a kind of fear she remembered all too well. It was the same look her father had worn the moment before the truck hit, The same helpless freeze. Ashley went back. No rope, no order, just instinct. She pulled the kid down through a rain of sparks, shielded him with her body. A photographer on a distant ridge caught it, the moment, the name on her helmet, the ash on her face. By morning, America knew her. The image went viral, a silhouette in smoke, a helmet marked a Lynn. A crew member sobbing into his mask. News anchors speculated, reporters called, producers begged for interviews, but Ashley said nothing. She sat on the station's roof that night alone, soot still in her hair, scrolling through comments she could not process. A stranger's tweet called her a hero. Another called her a ghost. One message stuck, "You saved my nephew. He says you never blinked. He says you came back for him like it was nothing. Thank you." Ashley set down her phone, stared into the dark. She thought of her father, of a quiet bakery, of choosing not to fight, until the fight found you anyway. They dug up Ash Lynn, the fighter, the ghost from the cage, but now they saw more, the girl with 2 lives, both forged in flame. She gave no interviews, only a single line, "You just learn which fire to feed." Before the smoke settled from that ridge, before the headlines faded, she knew the fire had to go somewhere. It did not vanish, it transformed. Behind a small bakery with sweet steam in the air sits a room with soft mats and firm rules. The air smells of steam and sweat. A single object watches over the room, a dough roller, cracked and blackened, hung like a memory that refused to be polished. Ashley Lynn teaches 3 classes a week. Girls, boys, the unsure, the angry. One of them is a girl named Layla, 12 years old, angry at everything, especially herself. She carried that burn that too many carry, the one that whispers you're alone, that the world has already decided who you are. On her first day, she refused to bow, refused to speak, just stared like the world owed her a fight. Ashley saw herself, saw others too, the recruits who panicked, the girls with fists before voices, the kids who had never been safe. She paired Layla with no one. Instead, she let her watch for an hour. On the 3rd day, she handed Layla gloves. "You want to fight? First learn to breathe." Weeks later, Layla stood taller. She moved cleaner, and after her first sparring match, she bowed, deep and deliberate. Ashley only nodded. A week after her first sparring match, Layla nearly quit, took a punch too hard, stormed off the mat, sat in the hallway, fists shaking. Ashley followed her, sat beside her. "You think being angry makes you strong," she said gently, "but anger burns fast. I need you to last." Layla did not look up, but she came back the next day. That was the test, not the technique, not the power, but the quiet decision to keep showing up, to hold the line inside yourself when everything tells you to quit. One afternoon, after class, Layla returned with a small paper box. Inside were 2 steamed buns, neatly folded, lightly sweet. "My mom helped," she mumbled. Ashley took one, broke it in half, and handed a piece back. "Then, thank her for me, and thank you for staying." It was not forgiveness, it was not closure, but it was something. A shared warmth passed hand to hand. Ashley smiles now. Not always, but more than before. One evening, after class, she found a package left at the edge of the mat. No note, just a carefully folded dish towel. Inside, 2 old photographs. One of her as a child, flower on her nose. The other, her father in his uniform, younger, unreadable. Beneath them, a wooden spoon, her mother's, worn smooth. She looked up toward the street. No one, just headlights passing. She did not need a name to know who had left it. Some things are spoken in bread, others in silence. Some of us are taught to need bread, some are taught to throw punches. A rare few learn how to carry both, and choose the flame that heals. Not all heroes wear turnout gear. Some kneel on soft mats, some carry a wooden roller in their bag, even when the world only sees ash. To every quiet guardian, every fighter who chose protection over vengeance, your name belongs here. Submit their story, honor their fire, add them to the legacy line. This story is a work of fiction inspired by real values, real grit, and real legacy. Names, characters, and events are crafted for narrative effect.